Okay, welcome.
Welcome.
Housewives of True Crime.
Hello.
Summertime. I mean, not legitimately summer because
So
it's still
close.
spring, but
So
it's
close to summer. Yeah.
summer for me.
Yeah.
I took a red eye last night, so I am fresh and fancy. What do they say? I don't know.
I think you rode hard and put away wet.
Yeah, that's what I am.
It is.
So what
I
it
don't
is.
think there's anything fresh or fancy about it.
And a red eye from Dallas is not really a red eye because it's 2.5 hours. So it's like you get 2.5 hours sleep. But let me tell you, I had no idea that the airport was going to be so effing busy. I know it's a holiday weekend, so it's Memorial weekend.
Correct.
But a Thursday, and my flight was at 11:59. So I had no clue. Like I got there.
I would not think.
And I was late. Like I was sweating it. And I don't sweat being late to the airport ever. I'm always, coming in hot. But last night I was like, dude, I have to make this airplane. I have all this shit going on for the end of the school year today. So I made it. But
you made it by the seat of your pants.
Yes, I'm having coffee now. I'm going to have a prime later.
Okay, it's working for you. Well, I went out last night.
Where did you go?
I went to some women networking thing, which I was invited to multiple times.
And I said, sound like you.
I was like, no.
I cannot imagine you at anything like that.
That is not my fucking jam. Yeah. I don't want to network about shit. I don't want to tell people shit about what I do. No, but I am easily corrupted. And it started with the moms all participated in some big gold rush day at the school. They felt like, and I did not participate. Another thing I took a pass on. So, but I accepted an opportunity to have a day drink after the gold rush thing. And so, I mean, that's all it takes to corrupt me, right?
They got you the drink and then they were like, hey, we're also doing this. You should come. And you were like, okay.
Only one of them. Yes. Which I didn't realize. I thought they were all going.
Oh, only one went.
She's like, you should come with me to this thing. And I said, no, I'm already in my pajamas. It was like 4:30.
And did you? She's like, you can get out of your pajamas.
Yeah, she did. And so I said, okay, I'll have a Red Bull. And so I did. And I wore all black because I hate my clothes. And, I want to be warm. It's so cold here.
Dude,
right?
I cannot believe how cold California is, you guys. Usually in the valley of California, it's at least 20 degrees warmer than the ocean. It was as cold as the ocean.
I have so many cute clothes for warm weather, but not for cold. And I hate being cold. Well, I walked in to this networking thing at a new store in downtown, and all these bitches are in cute summer outfits with like real cute hats.
Oh,
casual, I was like, I don't want to look like a slob. So I don't want to wear all my jeans are ripped,
But you could have.
All in ripped jeans.
Yeah.
They were all like so effortlessly stylish and perfect.
It's Orange County.
I know. So I did not fit in. And then they asked me what I did, what I was there to network for. And I was like, oh,
God. Did you say
I'm just, no, I said, no, I'm like, no, I'm just here hanging out with my friend. She injects shit in your face. So like, she's a good person to network with. Right. And I do something online. It's totally boring. That's what I told him. And then after a couple of champagnes, my friend is like, oh, come on, just tell her. Just tell this girl we're talking to. So I did and tell her I do the podcast thing. And she's like, I don't listen to podcasts. Womp womp. And I'm like, okay, well, let's pull out your phone.
Yeah.
Because you got to do that for people that don't listen to podcasts. You got to show them where the app is.
True.
Okay.
It's true.
And I'm like, listen, this is my good deed for the day because I don't even care if you listen to mine.
No, it'll change your life.
Listening to podcasts will change your life.
Yes,
okay?
You're right.
Makes the time go by faster. So I pull out her phone, hit the podcast app, and the Wi-Fi didn't work or something. So nothing would load. And then I felt like a 100% loser. And I'm like, I'm never putting myself out there and being vulnerable like this again. I do have a real podcast and it does come up on your phone. It's not yours. Your phone is stupid.
I've had that before. It's like so lame. Their phone's not updated or something. I don't know. But I'm glad you did that. I also told a bunch of people yesterday when I was at a funeral what I did. Finally, they asked me and I was like,
oh, shit. Not those people.
Kind of weird, right?
I know those people.
Well, I know. And we kind of talk about those people sometimes. But I'm at a funeral and I'm talking about they were like, what? You do crime?
Yeah, you
talk about dead people?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, yeah. I mean, crime light.
Yeah.
Today, today's episode, actually, it's really not crime light. It's kind of crime heavy, but not awful. It's a shorter one. So we will talk about that. But before we talk about our crime, Gretchen did a crime on Patreon that you guys should go and listen to. And if you listen on Apple, you can go on the bonus, and it's called the Clink Clink Club. And if you don't listen on Apple, you can listen on patreon.com/Housewives of True Crime. You get a new episode every Thursday and one bonus crime a month. So check us out there. Also, we're on YouTube, you guys. So if you haven't seen us and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Even if you don't want to watch us, it just helps us with our
A listener today posted a picture of us on the YouTube, on the TV while she was doing
laundry. Yes.
I'm so flattered.
Dude, I love listening, watching to shit when I'm doing laundry. And I feel like I'm doing laundry every damn day of my life.
Every day.
Probably because I am. Yeah. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. That's fun. Also on Spotify, you can give us comments if you listen there. We've gotten some interesting ones. I'll just say that, but you can leave nice ones. That's nice. We like those. And you'll get them published. Also, if you go on our website, there is a little button on the right side where you guys can chat with us. You can give us a message. You can talk about it. Oh, also, you guys, I never talked about, did we talk about this on the real podcast about cheaters? And if people have had adultery in our friend group here, and people wrote, dude, a lot of you have had some interesting lives, and it was really fun to read.
Let's compile those experiences and talk about that on Patreon.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, let's definitely do that. And we will never say names. We are Mum's the word. So if you guys have any extras, want to tell us some really juicy story that nobody will ever know it's you, then
we are living for it, people.
We are. So just email us at housewivesoftruecrime@gmail.com, or you could go and message us on any of our platforms. But yeah, that is, we love it. We love it, you guys. And I know you guys love it too. So let's get to this week's case. Are you ready?
Yeah, that was a lot of business.
I know it was. It's okay. All right. This week's case comes out of Mississippi. Crooked letter.
I fucking knew you were going to say it. You cannot not say it.
I can't.
It's our favorite thing. And she always says it like it's new, like no one's ever heard it.
You guys.
I used to hear it.
Yeah. That was from my grandma.
I know.
Everybody knows. But every time I hear the word, that's what I hear in my head too. So I just have to say it. And it's brought to us by one of our favorite listeners. Her name is Mary. She is my friend's mother. I want to tell you a little bit about Mary. She lives in Mississippi. She comes to Texas all the time to visit her grandbabies. And she is like one of the cutest, happiest ladies. Maybe you'll meet her. Did you meet her yet?
I think I met her daughter.
Yes, Lindsay is her daughter, and she's a good friend of mine. And then Mary, you just are like, and I know she's listening right now, but I'm always like, I'm sorry for anything I say bad, because she is like the most wholesome lady ever. So,
well, if she likes listening to us, then she's got a dirty side. So
she's got it deep down inside of her.
Just fine. Yeah, she keeps it in there.
I know that about her.
Yeah.
So anyways, I will give a little disclaimer. I said it's not a long case, but I do think there are some real lessons in this one, especially for us to have kids that are, like the teenage years, or just trying to navigate being open with your kids. I think we've talked about that lately, Gretchen, just about how to get your kids to talk to you and be open about everything, sex, drugs, mental health, all of that. So this case takes place in the university, or at actually the University of Mississippi. Do you know this university, Gretchen?
No. Is it one of those ones? Is it Ole Miss?
It's Ole Miss.
Oh, okay. Yes. So I know. Okay. We're going to say the roll tide roll, or you got to say something.
No, that's not.
I don't know what they say. I don't know, but I know it's one of those football schools that everybody's crazy for.
It is.
I don't really follow college ball. So.
Dude, it's like if you live in this area in the South, college ball is more than NFL, I feel. People are in it. And that is how this school is. I had no idea before I moved to Texas, Ole Miss or Roll Tide or any of those schools. Mm-hmm. But this school is where you want to be if you're in the South. This is where my friend Lindsay went. Also, I don't really consider Texas the South. although it is, I guess, considered South. It's kind of its own kind of entity. Then I was thinking, they do say the South, right? Like, you live in the South. Well, I say the Texas. So I think I'm grammatically correct saying the South. No, I mean the Texas. Anyways, let's go to Mississippi. Ole Miss, it's where you want to go. And they do not say Roll Tide. They say Hot Toddy.
Hot Toddy. Ole Miss. Hot Toddy. Get it.
When I was asking Lindsay, I was like, okay, so are you a hot toddy? Like, is that what the guys say? Like, when you walk by, they're like, oh, there's that hot toddy. Because that's what I think it should be. And she goes, no, it's more like a greeting. Like when you walk by somebody, go, hot toddy. Like,
well, that's not very fun. Okay, whatever.
It's not as fun. It's like, you're a hot toddy, like a disco biscuit.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
We could change it. Okay. It's located in Oxford, Mississippi, which has a population of 25,000. It looks super cute. The houses are not cheap because I don't know, but I can only imagine that it's because the school itself has a population of 24,000. So basically, when school's in session, the town population doubles.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Cal Poly is the same way. Yeah. In San Luis Obispo, where I went, like it doubles when the kids are there, which I think creates for good real estate investments because there's not a lot of places to live unless you're like on campus. So just a few years ago in 2016, a young high school senior named Kostial from Missouri was thinking about her next steps in life and chose to move to the big campus of Ole Miss. It was a dream school, one where sororities were always doing something fun and football games were life. This was the ultimate college experience. Allie embraced it all when she was at Ole Miss. She joined a sorority, made tons of friends, and enjoyed life. Allie, I would say on the outside, looked like your typical sorority Southern belle. Blonde, blue-eyed, big smile, cute as a button, you know? She was bright. She was eager. She loved sunsets. She even had an Instagram for that. She wanted to bring a lot of joy into people's life. I mean, she seemed like your all-around good girl.
She's a happy person.
She's the happy one. During Allie's first year, she meets a boy, a cute one, a clean cut, just her type named Brandon Theesfeld. Brandon was from Fort Worth, Texas. His dad was a doctor. He had some siblings. I mean, this guy seemed like the guy for Allie. To top it off, Allie loved Texas. She had a thing for it. I mean, some of us do. Some people like cowboys. And listen, I get it. See a cute cowboy? It's hot. Although Brandon was from Cowtown, he wasn't the typical cowboy. He was more of like a clean cut guy. So there was a problem, however, with these two relationship. And that is that Allie was more into Brandon than that Brandon was into her. Brandon, really too young.
Tough.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah. Been there, girl.
Oh my God.
But they always have to like you more than you like them.
100%. And this is where I am like, these are the lessons that we have to kind of instill in our children early on. And it is like, I don't know what it is, but I fell for this shit too. Like I had so many people that just were not that into me and I still kept trying, you know? And it's like, until I got older and wiser and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. That is like balls to the walls. Brandon really at that time was too young to settle down. So I don't really blame him either, right? For like being an asshole. He's 18.
What, he's like early. He's 18.
18.
Oh, 18.
Yeah.
18. Yeah.
And an 18-year-old boy in maturity level is much different than an 18-year-old girl.
Oh,
right?
totally. Yeah.
So Allie wanted something serious and Brandon just didn't. Allie would text and call Brandon a little too much and actually to the point where Brandon blocked her number. At this point, I wish that somebody or I or you or anybody could have said, move on and don't ever look back.
Yeah. You can't over communicate.
No. And she had it going on. I'm telling you, this girl was like a looker. So she could have dated anyone. I am sure of it.
You belong to a sorority. There's lots of other people to talk to.
Tons.
Don't fixate on one boy at a time.
Ugh, I know.
Or girl, whatever your flavor. Just don't fixate on one at a time.
Yeah. No, especially at 18, 19, 20. Shoot, live it up, girl. And so for the next couple years, it seemed like Allie did move on. Like he blocked her number. She couldn't really get a hold of him. She probably
Have you ever been blocked? I've never been blocked.
No. So it was extra. Okay.
Okay.
It was really extra. Brandon wasn't really seen back into Allie's life until her junior year. I guess he unblocked her phone number or something and started seeing Allie once again. It isn't clear what brought the romance back, but we do know that the two started seeing each other romantically and their old ways started back too. Allie would become desperate and Brandon would back away more. I think this is very common and it's one of those lessons you have to instill.
You have to learn. And listen, none of us are above being desperate. We
No.
both certainly have. Yes. But you only let your close girlfriends see that side of your craziness.
Yes. You pick 1 to 3 girls.
Yes.
And 3 is even pushing it. I mean, we have a great kind of close core group that we could talk our stuff to and we know it's not going anywhere. But sometimes you just need 1.
Listen. Some of us did some drive-bys. Some of us did more than that. Some of us still had passwords. Okay?
Right.
These were things we all did in our 20s. But men affiliated are none the wiser to this day.
Oh, yeah. No way. No way.
No way. Yeah.
No way.
Keep that shit on lock. Yeah.
So I have a friend that had a son or has a son that was over texting at like 12 years old. Okay. So he was like on this text thread and he's like,
gotta break that. Yeah.
Yes. And she got it right away. She was like, dude, you look freaking desperate. What is going on? And he didn't kind of get it, right? Because they're like, he's young and he's like, wait. But it's like, why aren't you getting back to me? Why aren't you texting me? Why aren't you texting me? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? And it's like, dude, that is
nope.
Don't do that. So she takes it on herself, like at an appropriate time, age, to be like, these are the correct ways to communicate. These are the ways that make you look like you're psycho or desperate or a little too much. Let's tone it down.
Yes.
And I guess I would just say proper etiquette on messaging.
Yeah. I hate people that get it twisted when you don't text them right back. Like if I'm having lunch with someone, I'm not going to text you back. If I'm doing any a thing, I'm not. When I get in my car, I'll text you, you know, don't be like, hello, like it's not going to work out.
It's not going to work out. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So unfortunately, Allie was a little too overbearing. And it's also unfortunate that Brandon didn't know how to be kind and gracious with Allie's behavior or how to manage it in his own head. I can imagine the more that he pulled away, the more that Allie tried to reel him in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cycle. And like you said, we've been there.
Yeah.
When Brandon became really distant from Allie in April of 2018, her junior year, she sent Brandon a text that was jarring. It was a picture of a pregnancy test and it was so-called inconclusive. She said it was a real faint blue line, but maybe not. While Brandon was having none of this, he responded back to her that he was not down to have a baby and that would ruin his life and there was a pill to take care of it. Allie kept at it with Brandon, asking him if they could meet up, if they could talk about it, and Brandon would either just not reply back to her or he would say he would meet up with her, but then just cancel plans day of. This really unhealthy relationship went back and forth for months. And neither of them said a word about this pregnancy or this, Allie never told her friends that she thought she was pregnant. And Brandon never told his friends that he might have knocked up a chick. Okay. It was very just in their own realm of themselves.
You know, you can buy positive pregnancy tests on eBay and
shit. I know. It's kind of weird, right?
80.
And I'm like, inconclusive, take another one. Right then.
Yeah.
By summer, Allie decided that she was going to stay at school and take some summer classes. So she was still at Ole Miss and Brandon was kind of going back and forth from Texas to Mississippi. Allie kept texting Brandon about her weekend benders and how she drank all the time and she was drunk most of the time. And she texted some things like, maybe this is just going to take care of the problem, being drunk. The text messages are immature and they are also terrifying if you are pregnant.
Totally.
That is really not the right way to go.
Well, that leads me to believe that this girlfriend did not really think she was pregnant. She was just using it to manipulate.
You're right.
Yeah.
In June, Allie did it again. She sent him another inconclusive pregnancy test. But we've all been pregnant and had a baby. So we know that by this point you would be over 4 months pregnant and it would be clear as day that you were having a baby in your belly.
If it was like me, you'd be asleep because you could not stay awake.
You wouldn't be on those weekend benders all night.
And you'd be eating red bell peppers 3 meals a day.
I would be eating donuts.
For some weird reason. Yeah.
I would be eating donuts and not look like I was 4 months pregnant. I'd look like I was 8 already.
And she does get huge. Yeah.
So you're right. Like, girlfriend wasn't pregnant. We also find out later for sure she wasn't pregnant. There is some, like, on one of the 48 hours or something I read, it was like by this time maybe she had had a miscarriage, but I don't think so. I can not definitively say that, but I can know what it's like to be in Allie's situation, and also
it's very tempting to pull the pregnancy card. But here's the thing. If you do that, they're not going to come back. They're like, I'm going to avoid that trouble. If I can get out of this situation with this young lady, then I'm not ever going back with her again, because I don't want the possibility of that happening.
Yeah.
Clearly she doesn't know how to prevent that. You're not going to yield the results that you are hoping for.
I know.
Yeah. And you're going to look nuts.
Yes. Brandon, being a very naive 20-something-year-old now at this point, mentally couldn't handle the idea of having a kid. And he also couldn't handle, he just is too immature to realize that she's not pregnant. Like, she's manipulating him, right?
Right.
When she texted him the second pregnancy test, he texted her back, the answer is the same as before. He wasn't going to have a kid and take care of it. He was serious about it. Allie asked him if she can see him and talk to him about it in person, and Brandon finally agrees and says he's going to meet her. He does. He doesn't flake on her this time. He texts Allie back and asks if she is private or has privacy at her house, which he's asking if she is home alone. Then on July 19th, Allie goes out to a bar. Before she meets up with Brandon, she Ubers back after midnight. Brandon picks her up and they drive about 30 minutes to an abandoned fish camp, to where Allie thinks, I bet she's going to get closer to Brandon with the story and talk about it. Right. But that's not what happened. Brandon, unfortunately, lost all of his moral compass, all of his intelligence, and all of his pretty boy goody two-shoes about him. And instead of working it out with Allie, he drove Allie to the fish camp to kill her. We don't know exactly what happened by the lake, but we do know that Brandon brought a gun. Brandon had planned to bring a gun because he went back to Fort Worth to get it and then drove to Ole Miss with it. He took Allie to the lake. They were outside of the car, and he shot her 8 times and then left her there and drove away. It didn't take long for someone to find Allie. Just the next day at 10:30 in the morning on July 20th, a patrolling officer rolled up to the fish camp and found this sweet, beautiful Allie lying on the ground. Not far from where she lay, her purse, her ID, and were there, but Allie's phone was missing. But Allie had an Apple Watch, and that was left in her room, and that held all the clues. Brandon Theesfeld, obviously, was the person that they wanted to talk to, and they called up Brandon, and he was cooperative. He was like, yeah, no problem. I'll come to the station tomorrow. Well, guess what? Brandon didn't come to the station tomorrow. Brandon was on the run, and Brandon wasn't very smart. He got caught pretty close. He got caught in Memphis. It looked like he was probably trying to drive back down to Fort Worth. He had the .40 caliber gun with him in the car. He had blood on his clothes. And there was also a letter in his car to his family that basically said that he had bad thoughts for years. Like, maybe having these thoughts of killing people weren't just because of Allie.
Really?
Yeah, he said he wasn't a good person and it wasn't his parents' fault. He said that he knew he was going to get caught and either he was going to go to prison or he was going to die. I don't know if he meant he was going to get the death penalty or he was going to kill himself, or I don't know. I don't know what he meant by that. Brandon was detained and taken into custody. Authorities pieced the case together pretty quickly. It didn't take long. Basically, Brandon pretty much decided the days before Allie's death that he was going to kill her. He was at home in Fort Worth with his family. He got the gun, took it back to Mississippi. He didn't even really know how to use the gun. He actually had to Google how to use it. They also found on his computer that he looked up different ways of abortion, different if you could have an abortion by a pill. So I know he was thinking that, right? Mm-hmm. Then he started looking up ways to get away with murder. He looked up Ted Bundy. Brandon's demons, I think, were pooling in his head, and he unfortunately did the unthinkable. Brandon thankfully would save Allie's family from a horrible trial, because we know how that goes, and he pled guilty. He took life in prison instead of the death penalty by pleading guilty, and he Googled Ted Bundy and how Ted Bundy lured his victims, which is pretty alarming, right?
Yeah, that is a strange choice. I mean, because obviously he wasn't going to have to lure Allie. She's ready and willing.
No, but then I'm like, well, shit, I've also.
But maybe
Googled
he's attracted to something about that the murdering, which is disturbing. But before you told me that little piece of the puzzle, that maybe he had these demons and that inside him, and that is what resulted in him killing, I was thinking, you know what? In the beginning of this, we were talking about how important it is to talk to your kids. And one of the things that we should be talking to them about is you can talk to us about anything. The world, do not put all this pressure on them. If you knock someone up, tell us. There is no need to be a murdering or killing yourself or anything. There is nothing that you can do that is going to be the end of the world. We will find a way to get through it.
Yes.
And I'll bet you, if he would have told, if Brandon was our kid and he would have told one of us and we were the mama, we would have been like, girl is playing you. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, let me have a chat with her.
Right.
Because we'd know all the, we'd know all 100%. The questions to ask her right away. It would be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's really unfortunate.
I will tell you that Brandon's mom came out on 48 Hours and basically said that she urges parents to talk to their kids because of that. Even if he had these really crazy thoughts about say he was ultimately going to be a serial killer, or he had these thoughts of doing stuff. I am not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I don't know, but I am sure there is a way to get help for that. And it feels scary, but I think we do need to talk to our kids about all of that. If you do the unthinkable, if you think your life is going to be over. Also, yes, I think there's a lot of pressure. Dude, he had a dad that was a doctor. I'm sure there was a lot of pressure on him to also be a successful human. And then it's dude, I knocked up some girl. How am I going to get from A to B if I have a kid?
You still can get there, buddy. Life throws you a lot of curveballs, and it doesn't always look like what we think it's going to look like. There is nothing you can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Except murder. We can't undo that.
That's so, dude. And now it's fucking tragic. This whole case is tragic. Brandon's family has been ridiculed. He comes from a nice family, from what I can see. People come out of the woodworks to talk about how he said he was so rich when he was at school and his dad could get him out of anything. And you know what? I bet you he did say that stupid shit. He was a kid. Allie's friends say that he was abusive. I don't think that. I think the way that he treated Allie was not the right way to treat anybody. But I also think we have to have higher standards and not let people treat us like that either, right? It's you don't call me back, then fuck you. I don't need you. Our girls need to know that they are not to be treated unkind. And if people are not being nice, you don't need to be around it. Girls or boys, you
should be a high school class.
Totally. Right? You don't need friends like that. You don't need boyfriends like that.
Yeah. And it should be both ways. Boys should be schooled about, if she is not saying yes, that is a no.
I know. There's so many lessons, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is now Brandon, I have read, is spending his days in the worst prison in America. He is or it's at least one of them. Okay. He's at Parchman Prison in Mississippi, and it is rough. Brandon's pretty boy looks, I think, have now changed. His appearance is much more hardened. He has a shaved head. I think it's a prison thing. And I also hear there's a very distinct class system in this prison. And I think it's brutal. And there's a lot of gangs. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of killing. So to me, I'm like, dude, I might have rather got the death penalty than be in that. I don't know. It's fuck. It seems really, really rough. And I'm sure he is regretting that. I mean, how can you not? But fuck his life. It's a lot, and it's going to be a long one. He's 20 something years old. He just got there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And for Allie's family, I mean, I just hope that her like little delightful spirit can come through and live through them.
Yeah. And I hope it just doesn't, because I foresee that I don't want anyone to take this as when we're discussing her behavior. I didn't know anything about this case before Tab just told it to me, that we are
victim shaming
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is just, you have to explain all of the details if you're ever going to learn anything of it. And like we've said, we've been there, right?
I think so too. Cause I did think that also. I was like, are people going to think that we're victims shaming her? But I am thinking it's more of a lesson. It's like, dude, we've all been there. I mean, not all of us, right? There are some girls that just have it together when they're young and they don't take shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm hopeful, like right now, my daughter's like that. And so I'm hopeful it just like, it stays like that. But I also talked to her about that. Like, I'm like, you know, because her friends have some boyfriends that are not as good. And I'm like, no, like you tell them, like, cut that shit right away. But I don't know. I just think there's a lesson. And that's why I did this case. It took me a second because I did think it was going to come off like that a little bit. But
yes. And talk to your daughters about identifying controlling behaviors.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Like, because I'll bet there were some red flags for girlfriend about this guy, that it's always on his terms, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's not.
And we've all been there too. Listen, it doesn't get better. Walk away. Yeah.
It doesn't get better.
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know, I had a long conversation with my mom last night just about that early on in her life, how she let some people manipulate her and stayed in relationships that were abusive. And it happens to the best of us, right? It can happen to anybody. And there are places also, if you're in a situation that you can get help and you can get out. And if you are one of those people, please. Kyla and I work at like all these shelters for people that have been in situations, and there are other people just dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's why I said it's a little, I mean, the case was like not a light one.
Okay. Well, thanks for doing it. It's a good reminder.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways, happy Memorial Day. This comes out on Memorial Day. So hopefully you guys are all, you know, throwing a barbecue or something. That's what you do.
Some watermelon.
Yeah.
Jello.
Hopefully sun comes out for you. And if you haven't given us a rating or review, please do so on Apple. If you like us, if you don't like us, there are plenty other podcasts that you can listen to. And I encourage you to do that. And Gretchen says, suck it. I think that's it for today.
Clink, clink.
Clink, clink.